The WIN Consortium was created 11 years ago now, really with the goal in mind of rapidly delivering the promise of translational medicine and precision oncology to people with cancer all over the world. Its goals at a high level are to cure cancer. Given the practical realities of that lofty goal, I think that we can really say that the goal is to apply modern precision oncology methods to improving the outcomes for cancer patients around the world. It's been a long road. I think it's taken some time to establish the WIN Symposium as one of the major cancer meetings of the calendar each year, and I think we've been successful with that. WIN has now begun and in fact completed some clinical trials. So the major accomplishment over the last year was the completion and now publication of the Winter trial, which is WIN's first clinical trial, largely a proof of concept trial, largely a feasibility trial to really demonstrate that the WIN Consortium was capable of doing a rather complicated precision oncology trial. It was done very successfully, and now the final results are in press in a very high impact factor journal and will be presented at the symposium in Paris at the end of June. We've also launched the first of what will be a series of trials in non-small cell lung cancer that we call the SPRING trials, aiming to do two things. One is to study rational triple drug combinations as first-line treatment of patients with metastatic non-small cell lung cancer. But secondly, and equally important, the SPRING trials really provide a mechanism to validate an algorithm that's been developed and patented by WIN called the SIMS algorithm, the purpose of which is to identify the optimal drug combination for each individual person with lung cancer. So the SPRING trials are ongoing. The first one is ongoing. There's a second trial that's in development, and we'll go from there. So the overarching theme is innovation in the global deployment of precision oncology. The aim of this year's symposium is really to feature the work of the WIN Consortium members. We have members all around the world, in Europe, in North America, in South America, in Asia, in the Middle East. They're all outstanding institutions that are doing innovative precision oncology work. We wanted to build this year's symposium around their work. So although we have some outstanding keynote speakers, the majority of the symposium is really going to feature the work going on by our members and give them a chance to highlight their work and also to share their experiences and their results with the other members of the consortium. Well, we're really excited to have as sort of our primary keynote speaker, Jennifer Doudna from University of California, Berkeley, one of the inventors of the CRISPR gene editing technology. So she will be giving what we're now calling the presidential lecture, and we expect that that's going to draw a very substantial crowd to the symposium to hear her vision for how gene editing can really advance cancer research and cancer care. We're also delighted to have Jennifer Ligabell coming from Dana-Farber Cancer Center and Harvard Medical School. She's an expert in cancer prevention and most importantly, an expert in how energy balance influences cancer risk and cancer progression. So given the global obesity epidemic, we are featuring her work to really talk about how energy balance, lifestyle, exercise can help modify an individual person's risk of getting cancer or of having their cancer progress after a cancer diagnosis. And as I mentioned, we'll be featuring the final results of the winter trial. Rizal Kurzrock, who's been leading that effort, will be giving a keynote lecture highlighting those results as well. Anyone who's interested in precision medicine and oncology, we would encourage to come. One of the great things about the WIN Symposium, there are several really innovative things about it. One is it's not just academic institutions that are represented in the symposium, either among the speakers or among the attendees. So we have many of our partner pharmaceutical and technology companies that come to the symposium, speak at the symposium, network at the symposium, as well as representatives of all the academic institutions and some of the other entities, patient organizations, and so on that are members of WIN. So the networking opportunities are great. It's still a small enough meeting that people can really get to know each other and spend some time together. The WIN Symposium is a great opportunity for young investigators in particular to come and have an opportunity to get up close and personal with some of the senior investigators and prominent researchers who are giving the invited talks at the meeting in many cases. We do accept abstracts for the symposium. We select the best of those abstracts for presentation at the meeting. We actually recognize the very best of the abstracts with some recognition awards at the end of the meeting. So we do encourage the young investigators to come to the meeting, present their work, get to know the senior researchers who are there as well. Well, cancer care on a global scale by itself is challenging enough because of enormous disparities in resources around the world. So we have many countries, like countries in North America and Europe, that have substantial resources, access to technology, access to the most cutting-edge drugs. Even for them, it's challenging to deploy precision medicine for reasons I'll come back to in a moment. But when you take the less well-resourced countries of the world that may not have access to the same technologies and drugs, it's even a bigger hurdle. The fundamental problem in the global deployment of precision oncology is that we still don't understand the tumor biology well enough to be able to identify the best intervention for each individual person. We're learning more every day about the genomic drivers of cancer, about the epigenomic drivers of cancer, about the role of the immune system in cancer, the microbiome and its influence in cancer development and progression and interaction with the immune system. But at still a fundamental level, for most cancers, we're not actually able to identify, at least at a genomic level, the key driver of that cancer's development or progression. And until we can, we're not going to be able to realize the full promise of precision oncology. So the challenge for everyone, no matter where in the world you are, is to contribute to our knowledge base about the key drivers of cancer. Beyond that, in order to take that knowledge to the next level and deploy it in the clinic, we need global clinical trials. The patient populations that we're interested in studying are often hard to find because we may be studying very highly targeted drugs against very rare mutations. So you really need access to a global population to be able to find enough patients with the relevant target to do the clinical trials you're interested in. Operating those trials is technically complicated because you need tissue specimens, you need outstanding molecular diagnostics, and you need a lot of guidance to physicians as to how to identify the optimal treatment based upon the genomic profile of the tumor. So all of these things contribute in quite a significant way to the challenges of deploying precision oncology, particularly in a worldwide setting where you have these great disparities in resources that can be brought to bear. All that said, I think we're continuing to make progress. One of the things that the WIN Consortium is trying to do, I think, in a very novel way, is we've recognized that single drug, single gene is probably not going to be optimal in curing the cancer. the WIN consortium has recognized that the prevailing model of precision oncology of targeting a single gene alteration with a single drug, while it clearly is beneficial for some patients, is not likely to cure the majority of patients. And our goal is to break the cure barrier. So our method really is to use complex algorithms to identify an optimal combination of drugs for each patient based upon understanding the genomic profile of the tumor, the RNA expression pattern of the tumor and how that differs from the RNA expression pattern in the normal tissue from which the tumor arose, and then layering in other molecular features of the cancer as well, and feeding all that information into the current version of our algorithm, the SIMS algorithm, to try to use that to identify an optimal combination of drugs. We think that if we can get to that point where we can identify a specific regimen that is uniquely effective in each individual person, we can move toward long-term disease control and potentially cure. The symposium will continue to be a medium-sized meeting, but one of very high quality. It really is distinguished by the quality of the speakers who have been willing to come and present their work at the symposium, and the opportunity for engagement among all the participants in the symposium. We're hopeful, of course, that it will expand somewhat, but we don't really want it to get to be such a big meeting as to make it one that people really can't assimilate the information that's being presented there. So we're going to continue to work on that. It may change venue periodically. It's been in Paris from the beginning. Paris is a wonderful city that attracts many people, but there are many wonderful cities on the earth, and our member institutions are all over the planet. So it's possible that we may periodically move the symposium to a different location. We're considering that possibility. I think the consortium itself is continuing to grow and develop. Our ability to complete the winter trial was an extremely important milestone for us because it really demonstrated that we can function as a translational research consortium and produce a high-quality trial with high-quality data. The spring trials that one is launched, a second is in development. I think those will carry WIN forward to the next level of its development as a translational research group. And we have a number of other study ideas in development. One of our challenges is that we have to raise the funding for each study individually, so that always takes some time, but we're well on our way now.